I made an Addams Family Iceberg chart. And if you don't know what an iceberg chart is, it's a collection of facts about a certain topic and it's ranked by how well known the facts are. Most of the information that people know about the topic is only at the tip of the iceberg, and the deeper you go into it, the information gets more obscure, niche, and sometimes dark. I try my best to put these entries into appropriate categories, but your knowledge on these topics will probably depend on which adaptations you're familiar with, how old you are, and how much Addams Family trivia you know. I also separated the entries into two different categories, the white text and the red text. White text means that you can find the entry while watching or reading an Addams Family adaptation in the franchise. Red text means that you can find the entry outside of the canon media, so you'll find it in interviews, news articles, etc. Now let's get into the Addams Family Iceberg and see exactly how deep it goes. Layer 0 is in the sky and not even on the iceberg yet, so these are just some topics that a lot of people know about the Addams Family. The 1964 theme song. It was created by Vic Mizzy and the melody is used for many different songs like the Days of the Week song. I don't think I could play it on YouTube for copyright reasons, but search it up if you don't know it. Gomez and Morticia relationship. A lot of people know that Gomez and Morticia are one of the most beloved fictional couples of all time. They're famous for having a very healthy and passionate relationship, and a lot of people aspire to have a relationship like theirs. The Wednesday series. In November of 2022, a spin-off of one of the most popular Addams Family characters, Wednesday, was made. It stars Jenna Ortega as Wednesday, and Tim Burton directs it. Riches. The Addams Family is very wealthy, and that's pretty noticeable because they live in a giant mansion and have a room filled with gold in their basement. That's French. Gomez loves it when Morticia speaks French and he kisses her arm whenever she does. They dance. In the 2022 series, Wednesday does a dance at her school's dance, and it became very popular on TikTok because many people remade the dance to Lady Gaga's song, Bloody Mary. Black and white. The 1964 series was shot in black and white. This was pretty common for shows at the time because it was less expensive to do than shooting in color. It also makes the show more creepy. Cousin It. Cousin It is a character from the Addams Family and he's Gomez's cousin. He is short and has very long hair that covers his whole body. He speaks in gibberish and only the family can understand him. He's one of the only main characters that were not created by Charles Addams in the comics. He was created by a producer of the 1964 show. The Munsters. The Munsters is a show about a family of monsters and their interactions with people in the suburbs, and is often compared to the Addams Family. The shows premiered in September of 1964 and they aired around the same time. Fun fact, Vic Mizzy wrote songs for both shows, but he said he liked the Addams Family more. You might know the entries in Layer 1 of the iceberg if you're a casual watcher of the franchise. Gomez Hispanic. Gomez Addams is Hispanic and he's played by a lot of Latin American actors. He speaks Spanish very often, but he also speaks Italian. He has ancestry from Spain, and in the Wednesday series, he has ancestry from Mexico. Fester Electricity. Uncle Fester had electricity conduction powers in every adaptation since the comics. This is mostly seen when he turns on a light bulb with his mouth.
Pumpkin.
Buffet.
Gomez's trains. One of Gomez's favorite pastimes is to blow up his toy train set, and in the 1991 film, he does it to let out his frustration. You rang. You rang is the iconic line said by Lurch when the Addamses ring for him with their noose bell. The line was actually improvised by Ted Cassidy because Lurch was supposed to be a silent character at first. He doesn't really say you rang much anymore in modern adaptations because they made him mute again and they can't use the noose bell for obvious reasons.
Lurch! You rang.
Wednesday love triangle. In the Wednesday series, Wednesday has a love triangle with two boys that go to her school, Tyler and Xavier. A lot of the cast disagreed with the triangle and thought that Wednesday shouldn't be in a relationship. Yet the writers still did it anyways. I guess it was good for the ratings or something. Lurch Frankenstein. Lurch is based off of Frankenstein, and that's pretty obvious. But sometimes he's portrayed as a human that just looks like Frankenstein, and sometimes he's actually a Frankenstein-like creature. Raoul and Angelica relationship. Raul Julia and Angelica Houston played Gomez and Morticia in the 1991 and 1993 films. They were very close friends, and because of their chemistry as a fictional couple, many people suspected that they had feelings for each other, which was never confirmed by either one of them, but they did have a very close friendship. Tish. Tish is the nickname that Gomez calls Morticia. It's obviously short for Morticia. The musical. The Addams Family musical was written in 2009 and it had many performances around the world, and they're still going on until this day. Extended family. The Addams Family mentioned their various extended family members. Some of them actually show up in adaptations, but most of them are just one-off characters for jokes. Not without my Gomez. Raul Julia passed away not too long after the 1993 film, and a lot of people asked Angelica Houston to reprise her role as Morticia for the Addams Family reunion movie and the Wednesday series, but she didn't want to be Morticia without Raul Julia, her Gomez. Other cast members also declined the offer to be a part of other adaptations for this reason. Pubert. Pubert Addams is Gomez and Morticia's youngest child in the 1993 film. He has a little mustache like Gomez. It's very cute. Luis Guzman controversy. A lot of people were upset that Luis Guzman was casted to play Gomez in the Wednesday series because they thought he wasn't attractive enough to play Gomez. A lot of fans of the Addams Family were used to conventionally attractive Gomez Addams. But Gomez was never meant to be conventionally attractive, and Charles Addams did say this while describing his character. So the people that were upset probably didn't know about the comic, but more on that later. You'll probably know these entries in Layer 2 if you're a casual fan of the Addams Family and if you know a bit about the fandom. Scooby-Doo crossover. The Addams Family was on an episode of Scooby-Doo in 1972. It was in the series The New Scooby-Doo Movies. It is animated and most of the cast from the 1964 sitcom did the voice acting for their characters. Christina Ricci in Wednesday. Christina Ricci played Wednesday in the 1991 and 1993 films. She also plays a role in the new Wednesday series. She's Marilyn Thornhill, the science teacher at Nevermore High, and the twist villain in the series. Kitty. The Addams Family have a lot of eccentric pets, but Kitty is one of the more consistent ones. He is their pet lion, and he usually scares away the Addams Family's guests. Cleopatra. Cleopatra is Morticia's carnivorous African strangler plant. Morticia is often seen feeding her zebra burgers and tending to her when she's in the conservatory.
Why, you perked up my African strangler. Come here, darling.
John Astin and Carolyn Jones' relationship. John Astin and Carolyn Jones played Gomez and Morticia in the 1964 series and a few other adaptations. They had a very close friendship, and after the show was finished, they would call each other very often. Years later, when Carolyn Jones was about to pass away, she and John Astin confessed that they both had feelings for each other, and they didn't say it earlier because they were both married during the run of the Addams Family show. In interviews, John Astin says that their attraction to each other probably made Gomez and Morticia's chemistry better and made the show better. The comics. The Addams Family was originally a comic created by Charles Addams in 1938. He always liked dark humor, and most of his art reflected that, so he made the Addams Family to be a parody of the average nuclear family. The comics were usually illustrations of a few family members doing something and text at the bottom of it for the punchline of the joke. This entry is so low because a lot of people that watch Addams Family media don't know that the comics exist, simply because it's before their time. Charles Addams. Charles Addams was an American illustrator and, of course, the creator of the Addams Family. Most of his art consisted of single-panel comics that were originally published in a New Yorker newspaper. He also worked with the writers of the 1964 show to really make the characters' personalities, even though he said the characters in the 1964 series are half as evil as his characters in the comics. Zen Yogi. Zen Yogi is a type of yoga that Gomez does in his pastime. He's often seen in random positions like on his head, and this is especially seen in the 1964 series. Gomez is also a part of the Zen Yogi Society, which is a group of people that do Zen Yogi. Morticia Frump. Frump is Morticia's maiden name before she got married to Gomez. Ophelia. Ophelia Frump is Morticia's sister, and she's the opposite of Morticia. She's a blonde, cheerful woman with daisies in her hair. Morticia really cares for her though, and loves her very much. Wednesday's name. Wednesday's name comes from an old English poem that talks about children's personalities depending on what day they were born. Her name comes from a line, Wednesday's child is full of woe, which is mentioned in the Wednesday series.
I'm guessing it was the day of the week you were born.
I was born on Friday the 13th.
Her name comes from a line from my favorite nursery rhyme. Wednesday's child is full of woe. You always had a unique perspective on the world, Morticia.
Snoop Dogg. The famous hip-hop artist Snoop Dogg voiced Cousin It in the 2019 and 2021 Addams Family films. When Claire. When Claire is a headcanon made by some fans of the Wednesday series that ship Wednesday and her roommate Enid Sinclair. Powers. The Addams Family have powers in some adaptations. Uncle Fester always has electricity powers, but some characters only have powers in some adaptations, like Wednesday seeing visions in the 2022 series and Morticia sometimes being a witch. Transfer Trans, Gomez and Morticia. Some fans of the Addams Family headcanon Morticia and Gomez as a trans couple. I assume it's because of their aesthetic and their original height difference. Gomez Ladies Man. Gomez was definitely a playboy before he met Morticia, and they remind us of this in almost every adaptation. He was engaged to Ophelia in the 1964 series. In the 1991 film, he stole Fester's girlfriends because he was jealous of him. And in the 2022 series, Larissa asked Gomez to go to the dance with him, but he declined because he wanted to go with Morticia. You'll probably know these entries in Layer 3 if you watched most of the Addams Family adaptations and if you know some trivia. Royalty. Gomez comes from Castilian royalty and he moved to the US from Spain when he was a child. That's why Morticia calls him a mad Castilian. Older Pugsley. Most people know Pugsley as the younger Addams child, but he actually used to be the oldest. MC Hammer. The famous hip-hop artist MC Hammer was on the soundtrack for the Addams Family 1991 film and made the song Addams Family Groove. Their cast is in the music video and they have a little documentary showing the process of making it. This song was also MC Hammer's last top 10 hit, so that's kind of crazy.
I fell in love with Angelica Houston on the set. She was just such a nice person.
We thought it was good.
Addams mustache. The Addams men seem to grow mustaches at very young ages. Gomez says he got his mustache when he was 5 years old, Pubert was born with his mustache, and Pugsley got a mustache when he did his rite of passage ritual in the 2019 film, but it fell off because he failed the ritual. Pink House. Since the 1964 series was shot in black and white, people didn't know what color the house was while watching the show, but the house was actually pink, which is kind of ironic for the creepy and gothic Addams family. New Jersey. Charles Addams based the Addams family's house off of the old architecture in the state he grew up in, New Jersey. The family actually lives there in the 2019 film.
I want to find a new home that is shrouded from the world. Someplace that is truly us.
Yes, somewhere horrible, somewhere corrupt, somewhere that no one in their right mind would be caught dead in!
Uncle Fester is Morticia's uncle. In most adaptations, Fester is Gomez's brother, but in the 1964 series, he was actually Morticia's maternal uncle, making him Wednesday and Pugsley's great uncle. I do actually really like this dynamic of the family because I always saw Fester as way older than Gomez and Morticia, but I like him as Gomez's brother too. Grandmama's child. Throughout the franchise, Grandmama's child is always changing. Sometimes she's Gomez's mother and sometimes she's Morticia's mother. It's really hard to keep track of which one is which. But the musical made a joke about this when Gomez and Morticia thought that she was the other's mother, and Grandmama didn't even remember whose mom she was. Morticia lighting. In the 1991 and 1993 films, Morticia always has lighting on her eyes. This was done to reference the classic noir films of the 40s and 50s. It also fits her vibe, so it definitely works. But the 1998 film also tried to replicate it, and it kind of failed. Gomez bronchitis. In the 1964 series, Gomez was a very sickly child. He had bronchitis and very bad allergies, but when he met Morticia, she spoke French, and that somehow cured his bronchitis. 1964 controversy. In the 60s, TV censorship was very heavy on things that could be considered too sexual, so Gomez and Morticia never actually kissed in the show. The couple was one of the only romantic TV couples at the time, so if they kissed, maybe that would have been too much. Some people were actually upset at the Gomez character for being so forward with Morticia. Fester missing for 25 years. In the 1991 film, Fester has been missing for 25 years. But he has been missing for 25 years because the 1964 series ended in 1966, and that's 25 years before 1991. Tim Curry. Famous actor Tim Curry played Gomez Addams in the 1998 film, which was very surprising when I found out about that. Jodie Foster. Famous actress Jodie Foster voiced Pugsley in the 1973 series and the Scooby-Doo crossover, before she became famous. Jenna Ortega's script. Jenna Ortega disagreed with the writers on the direction of Wednesday's character in the 2022 series. She thought that some things didn't make sense and she would sometimes change her lines to make them feel like the character, which I can understand because the writing in that show was kind of questionable. Nameless characters. In the original Charles Addams comic, the Addams family members didn't have names. Their names were created when the 1964 show was made. If you know these entries in Layer 4, you probably watched all of the Addams Family adaptations and are really into the trivia and the fandom. Pugsley's original name. When they were thinking about what to name characters for the 1964 series, they wanted to name Pugsley Pubert, short for puberty, but because of the 60s TV censorship, they couldn't name him Pubert, so they named him Pugsley. Video games. There have been 7 Addams Family video games from 1989 to 2022. The first video game is based off of Jackie Coogan's Uncle Fester. Gomez's 2 watches. There's a reoccurring joke in the 1964 series that Gomez has a wristwatch and a pocket watch. One watch is an hour early and the other is an hour late, so that's how Gomez checks the time. Cher. During the casting of the 1991 film, the studio wanted the famous singer and actress Cher to play Morticia, but Barry Sonnenfeld, the director of the film, thought it would be too distracting to have a big star in the film. Cher also had scheduling conflicts, so Angelica Houston got the part. Wednesday hair noose. In the 2019 film, Wednesday has noose shapes at the end of her hair, probably as a reference to the noose bell, but it was changed in the 2022 film. Fake Uncle Fester. Since Fester went missing in the 1991 film, Gomez's lawyer Tully gets a guy that looks like Uncle Fester to trick the Addams family and steal their money. But at the end of the movie, he turns out to be the real Uncle Fester, but he just lost his memory. The writers of the show wanted to keep him as the fake Uncle Fester and have the family grow to love him. But the cast wanted him to be the real Uncle Fester, so they changed the script. John Astin Grandpapa. John Astin plays Gomez 4 times in the franchise, but he also plays another character in the 1998 series. He plays Grandpapa Addams, Gomez and Fester's grandfather, and Pugsley's and Wednesday's great-grandfather. They also wanted him to play the same role in the 1998 film, but he didn't, so I guess no one wanted to be in that movie. Wednesday Dance 60s reference. So we know that Jenna Ortega choreographed the famous Wednesday dance, but one of the moves is a reference to the 1964 series. Wednesday is teaching Lurch how to do a dance, and she does the droop.
This is the latest. It's called the droop.
Jenna Ortega's Wednesday also does this when she does her dance. Ted Cassidy Thing. In the 1964 series, Thing was played by Ted Cassidy most of the time, and when Thing was in scenes with Lurch, he would be played by someone else. Margaret Hamilton. Famous actress Margaret Hamilton, known for her role as the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, plays Morticia's mother, Granny Frump, in the 1964 series. Wednesday's middle name. Wednesday's middle name is Friday, and it's mentioned in the 1964 series.
Wednesday's her name.
Oh, and I suppose you're going to tell me her middle name is Thursday, huh?
Friday.
Cereal. With the release of the 1991 film, Addams Family cereal was released. Angelica Houston burned costume. Angelica Houston had a hard time during the filming of the 1991 and 1993 films because of her uncomfortable costume and makeup. The cartoon Morticia is very slim and pale, so Angelica Houston had to wear a very tight corset and many layers of makeup to get Morticia's pale skin. They also used rubber cement to pull her eyes back. So after they wrapped up the filming of the movies, Angelica Houston burned her costume because it made her feel so uncomfortable during that time. John Astin outlived everyone. As of May 2024, John Astin is the last living cast member from the 1964 Addams Family series because the other cast members unfortunately passed away. He is now 94 years old. Adult Wednesday. Adult Wednesday Addams is a popular YouTube web series from 2015 created by Samira Morgan. It's pretty much about Wednesday in the world as an adult and dealing with the people around her. More Mamushka. In the 1991 film, Gomez does a singing and dancing number for Fester's return, but it was cut short because test audience said that it was too distracting from the rest of the film. The full version of the music number was not shown in theaters, but it's in some versions of the movie. If you want to watch the scene, it's on YouTube and it's actually really good. It definitely displays Raul Julia's musical theater talent.
My emotions have left me dribbling. I'll stab anyone who starts annoying and nibbling at my feelings for my sibling.
I need them to put this on Spotify immediately. If you know these entries in Layer 5, you're probably a really big fan of the Addams Family and know too many random facts about them. Rapelli. While trying to think of names for the characters in the 1964 series, the showrunners asked John Astin to pick between the names of Rapelli and Gomez. He picked Gomez. If they picked Rapelli, I guess he would have been Italian? Pancho. Pancho Addams is Gomez's brother in the 1977 film. They never mentioned him in the 1964 series, but he acts just like Gomez and tries to take Morticia from him. Suicide. In the 1964 series, a few family members attempt to unalive themselves when something goes wrong. Gomez tries to and gets Uncle Fester to help him because he thinks Morticia loves another man, but it was just a misunderstanding. He and Morticia did this in a very non-graphic way, of course, and put in comedic elements, and this is pretty in character for the Addams Family, but it's still kind of surprising that this was allowed in children's media because of the heavy censorship of television. They said, we'll let you unalive yourself, but kissing? That's where I draw the line. Bullfrog. So we know that Gomez's blood boils when Morticia speaks French. He has an extra toe. And this is seen when Gomez plays this little piggy with her and doesn't know what to say for the last toe. Ladies love Lurch. While Carolyn Jones had a lot of male fans that watched the 1964 show, Ted Cassidy also had a lot of female fans. I mean, Lurch did have an episode where he became a pop idol and girls were comparing him to the Beatles, so life reflects art.
The show quickly climbed the ratings charts as kids first became faithful Addams addicts, and then their parents caught on to what the kids were watching every Friday night. As men chose Morticia as their favorite female cast member and newest 60s sex symbol, many women dubbed Lurch as one of the sexiest men on television.
Morticia smokes. There is a reoccurring joke in the 1964 series that Morticia smokes. Coogan Act. Jackie Coogan, who played Uncle Fester in the 1964 series, was a child star, mostly known for his roles in silent films, a lot of them being with Charlie Chaplin. His parents spent almost all of his money when he was a child because there were no laws back then to protect child actors and their money. He sued them when he became of age, but he never got the millions of dollars that he earned. So the California Child Actors Bill, also known as the Coogan Act, was made so a portion of child actors' earnings get put away for them until they become of age. Cancer. Two stars from the most popular Addams Family adaptations unfortunately battled with cancer, Carolyn Jones and Raul Julia. And Raul had it during the filming of the 1993 film. Cosmo. Uncle Cosmo is Gomez's brother in one of the Charles Addams comics. He's the only character that has their name mentioned out of all of the original Addams Family comics. Pugsley's disintegrator gun. Pugsley is a great inventor in the comics and in the 1964 series. He made a disintegrator gun and made a lamp disappear. But Gomez says that they also lost Cousin Creep this way too. So did Pugsley accidentally disintegrate someone? Kitty and Cousin It get high. In the 2021 film, Cousin It comes with the Addams Family for their road trip, and when Morticia says, "Where's Kitty at?" Gomez says this.
Where's Kitty? He needs a walk.
He's asleep. He and It hit the catnip pretty hard last night. What you mean? I've got a hook up on the plug.
Catnip is obviously a reference to marijuana, and Snoop Dogg plays Cousin It, and he's famous for being a weed smoker. So we get the idea. Thing feet pics. In the 2019 film, Morticia walks into Thing's room, and he's looking at pictures of feet, and he slams the computer closed when she walks in. So we can assume that he was watching something that would be considered not safe for work for hand people. Gomez and Morticia hookah. So we know that Gomez is a cigar smoker, and Morticia smokes, but they both smoke from a hookah in the 1964 series. It's so funny how they couldn't kiss, but Gomez can chain smoke 50 cigars a day. Mixing Yiddish with French. Gomez loves it when Morticia speaks French, but he also goes crazy when she speaks Yiddish in the 1964 series. But he still says that's French when she isn't speaking French, so maybe Gomez doesn't know the difference?
Tish, let's go down to the cave.
That we save for special occasions. Boobula.
Well, you know what you do when you call me that.
Well, it just slipped out. Now control yourself, Gomez.
I'll try.
John Astin Lurch. When John Astin was asked to play Gomez for the 1964 series, at first they wanted to make the show based off of a Lurch, and they wanted John Astin to play him. But then they changed the plot and casted him to be Gomez. Layer 6 is the deepest layer of the chart and it's under the iceberg. If you know these entries, you're probably an Addams Family super fan. Also, people might not know some of these entries because they're my own theories about the Addams Family. Elsa Gate. So if you don't know what Elsa Gate is, it's a genre of YouTube videos that are marketed towards kids because of the characters that are used in the videos, originally Elsa and Spider-Man. But the content of the videos are not for kids and actually have very inappropriate themes and brain rot content. These types of videos exist for pretty much every popular children's media character, so the Addams Family, especially Wednesday, was a victim of this. I searched up Wednesday Addams on YouTube to see how fast I could see one of these videos, and it came up just after a few seconds of scrolling. Parent hacks in jail? Why does she have a giant needle? I don't know what to say about this. But you pretty much get the point. They're not appropriate for kids. So if you have young children, please make sure you know what they're watching on the internet. Tim Burton 1991 film. Tim Burton directed the 2022 Wednesday series, but he was also asked to direct the 1991 film, but he turned it down, so Barry Sonnenfeld directed it. I wonder how it would have been if Tim Burton said yes. John Astin Asbestos. In the 1964 series, Gomez would put his lit cigars in his pocket when he was finished with them, so John Astin's pockets were lined with a very dangerous mineral called asbestos. They're known to be fire resistant, so that's good to put on his cigars, but they can also cause lung cancer and mesothelioma. Mixing Morticia. Gomez loves it when Morticia speaks French, but sometimes when other people speak French, he kisses them thinking that it's Morticia. This happens in the 1977 film when a woman is impersonating Morticia, and this happens when Gomez meets Elvira.
I hope I don't run out of hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres! You spoke French! Speak some more. Soup du jour. Eiffel Tower. C'est la vie. Penny. Wait a minute. What's this address?
Of course it's a dress.
Certainly is, but where am I?
5515 Melrose. Why?
That's not my house. Well. Interesting. So long.
Maybe he just mixes up his wife with any goth woman that speaks French, but sometimes he even kisses himself when he speaks French, so maybe Gomez just loves French.
On guard! Uh-oh, wait, I spoke French. Nah.
2-season curse. This is just an observation that I made about the franchise. Every TV adaptation only has at most 2 seasons, which is surprising for such a popular franchise. I think that the Wednesday series will definitely break this curse because it's extremely popular. Thing's true form. So Thing is a decapitated hand that walks around and sometimes he's in a box. But originally, Thing was supposed to be a creature so horrifying to look at that he had to stay in the box. So that makes me wonder, what was Thing supposed to look like? Lost episode. In 1973, an Addams Family variety show titled The Addams Family Funhouse aired on ABC. It had jokes, skits, and dance numbers. Many different TV stations gave it funding to make the pilot episode, but not enough money to make a season. The series was never created because no channels wanted to pick it up, so it was only aired on the channels that funded it. So the pilot episode is now lost media. If you watched it before, please tell me what you remember about it in the comments. Immortal theory. This is just a theory that the Addams Family members are immortal because they're extremely durable, especially Fester. Debbie threw a boombox in a bathtub, blew up his house, and tried to shoot him, and he still survived. Most of them can really survive anything, but they're definitely not immortal because they have a graveyard filled up with their ancestors, and I bet Morticia and Gomez already have their graves ready for when they die together. Real life Morticia. It was thought that Charles Addams based Morticia's likeness off of his first wife, Barbara Jean Day, but this was just a rumor because they met after the comics were published. His 3 wives, the 2 after Barbara being Estelle Barbara Barb and Marilyn Matthews Miller, do kind of look like Morticia because of their long black hair, pale skin, and dark features. So maybe Charles Addams just had a type. Character themes. Vic Mizzy created the iconic Addams Family theme song for the 1964 series, but he also gave the characters theme songs. Fester, Gomez, Morticia, Lurch, and Thing all have theme songs, and you can hear them in every episode. It isn't really noticeable that they're theme songs at first because I thought they were just randomly putting in the songs, but the songs play when that character is doing something.
Follow me.
Charles Addams self-insert. Charles Addams was describing Uncle Fester's character, and he said that he looks like Uncle Fester, but if he had more hair. And Fester is the character that Charles Addams drew the most, and he has the most solo comics out of the rest of the family. So I was thinking, is Fester Charles Addams' self-insert character? 1977 pilot. The 1977 TV film that brought back the original cast of the 1964 series was a pilot to make a reboot of the 1964 series with the same cast. This reboot never happened, probably because of low ratings on the movie, but I wonder what the show would have been like. Other hand people. Thing is the main hand person in the Addams Family, but there's also another hand person in the series. Her name is Ladyfingers, and she and Thing got engaged. She's also seen in the 1977 series. But this made me think, are there other hand people? And where are they? Raul Julia's eye. In an interview, Angelica Houston told a story about Raul Julia's eye falling out of the socket. He was at a bar after filming and he rubbed above his eye and it just fell out the socket because a blood vessel popped. But he somehow was able to put it back in place. The next day when Angelica saw him, his left eye was bloodshot. After hearing the story, Angelica decided to pull a prank on Raul and call some prank shops to get those springy eyeglasses, and she gave them out to everyone so Raul would see them with the glasses. And when Raul saw it, he thought it was very funny. Pugsley Milady meme. The Milady meme, or the Tips Fedora meme, is an internet meme that was popular in the early 2010s, and it was made to make fun of men that are self-proclaimed nice guys. A nice guy, in internet terms, is a guy that wants his friendship with a woman to turn into romantic relationships. So he waits and acts nice so the woman will notice him, but they're often hostile when the woman doesn't reciprocate these feelings. So people often associate tipping a fedora and saying milady with these types of men. The most popular picture of this meme is a picture of Jerry Messing, and he played Pugsley in the 1998 film. So Pugsley is the Tips Fedora Milady meme. Well, that's it for the Addams Family Iceberg chart explained. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video about an entry on the iceberg. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video.